1988. A novel by Thomas Harris was published under the title of The Silence of the Lambs. The 384-page novel was a sequel to his 1981 novel titled Red Dragon, which followed the fictional character of Hannibal Lecter. His inspiration for the novel was brought out by the whirlwind of attention that the world had begotten from the confessions of Ted Bundy, who after 3 life sentences and 6 years of marriage whilst on death row, confessed to his crimes. It is easy to interpret that Harris was very intrigued by the story and would have obviously reignited his interest in writing criminal fiction. So how did Ted Bundy directly affect the story, and why do I think it's one of the greatest criminological writings of the 20th century? The story Harris wrote centers around a young FBI agent in 1984, set just 5 years after the events of Red Dragon. The agent in question is Clarice Starling, who is to run an errand for her boss. The errand is a questionnaire with an infamous serial killer called Hannibal Lecter, or also known as Hannibal the Cannibal. You see, any other writer in this situation would have probably just rehashed his former successful killer and not bothered to flesh out a new one. But not Harris. You see, Clarice is sent out to interview Lecter about a new killer under the alias of Buffalo Bill, whose cases would include kidnapping overweight females and to cut pieces of skin and flesh off them and then dump their bodies. The serial killer of Buffalo Bill is based off 3 infamous serial killers. In question, the obvious one is Ted Bundy, the lady killer, who lured females into his car and then killed them. The second is Gary M. Heidnik, who kidnapped and killed 6 women in his serial killing spree. A peculiar torture method he did on 2 occasions would be to put the women into pits in his basement where they'd ultimately die from starvation. The third killer was Ed Gein, who'd make keepsakes and trophies out of his victims, and he infamously made a female bodysuit as well as a face skin mask. The peculiar pairing of these horrific killers is what made the character of Buffalo Bill so horrifying, is that all these characters of himself as a serial killer is from a sense of fact, as well as the idea that people who are not in their right minds would carry out these actions. Harris also took to the effort for explaining exactly why Buffalo Bill was committing these murders. I do hope everyone has either read the book or watched the movie, because the bomb that gets dropped when we find out why is incredibly worth it. So basically we find out that Buffalo Bill is a transsexual who wishes to use the bodysuit to complete his wish, as his efforts to obtain sexual reassignment surgery is not fulfilled. The story of this is a large pill to swallow, and every piece of plot narrows into a stellar ending of cunning strategy, intense plotline. I fully recommend checking out both variations of this story, though I will say Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster deliver some of the best performances of the 20th century. Anyway, that's all from me today. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you in a little bit. Cheers.